am so glad that you're here. I was literally just um, on the phone, on the camera with Mr. Peter Soby, who was so kind to rehearse how to go live together and to find all the instructions and to walk me through it. I was so grateful for that. And so here we are. Hello, Ron. Episode 50. Do you hear me well? Do you hear me okay? As it turns out, there's a button on the desktop version of YouTube that says stream. And we were figuring out how to invite a guest onto the live on the desktop. And that button that says stream on the desktop version says that I don't have access to that feature. Well, okay. And so I think that's why I was not able to figure out how to bring a guest onto the live. So anybody in the audience is considered a guest per YouTube verbiage. But when I say guest, I mean somebody up on this stage, right? And now that we figured it out, that's great. I might do all of the lives on the phone from now on because I can bring a guest up on camera with me to stream with me on the mobile version of it. So now we know. Ding, 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 ding. Now we know. Isn't that interesting? I don't know what's up with the desktop version. I don't know if it's my laptop or if I need a specific thing or browser for it, but I'm very grateful that Mr. Peter Stubby was kind enough to figure it all out for me and then walk me through it. What a gentleman. Thank you. So here we are, episode 50. Before we bring, right, the star of this episode, episode 50, my oh my. If you remember, I missed one episode and I didn't really promise myself that I wouldn't miss another one. I tried to flow with, the things that come up in my life instead of, going against the wind and trying to uh, push away or go against, the energy. And so with that comes a practice, which sometimes I have to admit I suck at it, of self compassion and patience and tolerance. And so I didn't even think to myself, I'm never going to miss another episode again. The intention is just always there. I'm just very grateful that we made it. I don't know why 50 feels like such a big deal to me. There are 52 weeks in the year, so hopefully next year we do all 52, but you just never know, right? And so I'm just very grateful to have this curated content that we can all talk about and hyperfixate at least once a week. So thank you for indulging this uh, eternal hyperfixation of mine and to be in this conversation and to partake of the journey however you have if you have been watching since I launched this show in August of last year, or if you just watch and listen, if you just listen, if you only skip all of it and just go straight to the meditation, if you leave when the meditation starts, like I just don't care. I'm grateful that you watch and grateful that we can kind of process all of the things that we have processed together. And when I say we, I don't just mean, of course, the people right here, right now, Mr. Ron and Peter, but the year's almost coming to an end. And if you think about it, um, we have been sort of going along the journey of this year together. And it's because of this conversation. And I'm just so grateful. So, welcome to Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace. We're celebrating episode 50. And in this conversation, I like to talk about where the moon is every day and how that may show up for you emotionally as well as the alignment between the mind and the heart. I don't want to say mentally, right? Because the word just mental, the word, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to say that. But Mercury is retrograde, and I've been reviewing my year as well, and we talked about Mercury retrograde at this same time last year because the year usually ends with a Mercury retrograde. And how gracious, excuse me, how gracious of the universe to provide us with an opportunity right at the end of the year. Now, here's the thing. The end of the year is the end of the Gregorian calendar, which like Chani so graciously reminded us in her podcast this week. The Gregorian calendar doesn't follow anything other than, the structure that they created. But we have the solstice this week. And so, energetically and in nature, and with the sun and the moon and the stars, what's happening is a brand new beginning this week. Now, astrologically, this week is not a new year. As we have talked about before, with Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, when spring equinox happens and Aries season begins, then that would be the new year. And I remember earlier this year when we entered the year with Mercury retrograde, the conversations a lot of us were having, not just in this episode, in this show, but the conversations that I had with all of you, was all about how it didn't feel like a new year kind of vibe because we were still kind of teeter tattering between some things, and we were still kind of confused about what is it that I'm starting and what is it that I'm kind of jumping into and what are my New Year's resolutions. Like, I'm just not ready to even ponder that, right? Like, that doesn't feel much like plunging into the new year, new me vibe. Let's get set for success, so on and so forth, right? And so I remember discussing that it's just so beautiful how things work out in a way where if you are not ready for a new beginning when the new moon happens, and if you're not ready to plunge into something new when the new year starts in December, right, in January 1st, or if you're not ready to dive into something new when Mercury retrograde ends and hopefully everything makes sense again, which we all know it's not true, right? That's not just how it works. Then you're still going to get another opportunity to start. And it's like every day is a new beginning, right? So I'm glad we just covered that. And that's sort of what I was pondering because I feel like we all need a reminder that Mercury is retrograde and um, need to kind of practice what it's like to not to dive into conversations when Mercury is retrograde and just to analyze and to go with the flow. Anyway, that was a huge diatribe. Did I say that right? I don't know if I used that expression correctly, but let's dive into the astrology this week. I mentioned this morning in the morning call that we're starting the week with the end of the lunar cycle. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and that's where we are today. And how, aside from the context of all the astrology this week and where the moon is, consequently after today, um, just the fact that we're kind of like starting the week, right? There's that jump start, that energy of first day, especially for whoever identifies with Monday being a good day. If, I don't think anybody who would watch this would be like, I hate Mondays, right? Hopefully, I hope so. We love Mondays here, right? We love Moon days because it's the perfect day to get in touch with your emotions because it is the day of the week that is governed by the moon. And so this is why I love Mondays. It's a great day to review or to think ahead about what you could anticipate, right? That's that's part of the conversation that I have here. And so with the end of the cycle though comes the energy of starting something when the moon moves into Aries by Wednesday. And then, of course, the winter solstice is 18, 19, 20, 21, Thursday. And that's, see how I did that? 18, I had to count because the solstice is not marked on this agenda, but it is marked on next year's agenda. Oh, see what I did there? And so, what the bottom line that I really wanted to bring up before I go into where the moon is every day is that the reminder that compassion and okay, am I live? Let me know if I'm live because it said I was not connected. So, the impetus of starting something where Mercury just tells us to chill and to assess. And so that's what I see happening this week. If we are not self-compassionate and if we're not aware of what's happening in order to kind of slow down, then we tend to buy more than we can chew. We tend to put more on our plate than we should for our safety. And so that's that may happen this week. There's also a Epiphany happening, I think Friday or Saturday between Mercury and the Sun. This is a beautiful moment where the Sun and Mercury and the Earth just align, and that could be a moment of insight, but it may not be, right? So let's go ahead and check. Where is the moon all week? I have my trusty astroseek.com, the one of the most comprehensive resources that we have to research and to kind of see the chart every day and what happens. So, what a journey. We also have a quarter moon tomorrow, the first quarter moon. And so that's another highlight that I included in next year's agenda because the quarter moon is a moment of respite between the journey of shedding light into what needs to be worked on or what shadow work needs to happen, and then the shadow work is done through the waning moon, right? So that's tomorrow. And Pisces is very intuitive, so today and tomorrow, even though it's the end of the cycle, it poses just this beautiful opportunity to get in tune and to listen and discern, because Mercury is retrograde. What goes on in your head and how the thoughts just flow into you, if you know what I mean, there has to be discernment applied because when Mercury is retrograde, all communication is skewed, right? And so I just say discern and really think about what you're thinking before you act or before you speak, right? And the thing about Pisces is that whatever drama has been brought up by Venus in retrograde back in the summer and now in Scorpio, scraping the bottom of the barrel and really stirring things up inside. That's what we've been experiencing for the past few weeks. And so this Mercury retrograde and the moon in Pisces might assist you in intuitively discern what is it that you want to bring up this week, or what is it that you want to work on, or what is it that you're supposed to know or learn, right? And like I said, we have the moon moving into Aries, and Aries is that me, first of all, right? Because the north node is in Aries, which is me, and the south node is in Libra, the opposite, which is us, right? And so the moon in Aries this week, I am hoping can also bring some clarity to where is it that we see ourselves going in the coming year. If some of us are not long planners. We don't plan greatly ahead, right? I like to take it into bite size and to do it week by week because I just don't know what can happen. When you have a lot of people in the family coming in and out, and when you have a small child who is the boss, then you don't really plan a lot. Um, and so I just take it day by day and then do all these other things, right? But if you're a big planner, then you might want to ponder, like, how is it that my life is resonating right now with my soul? Because that's what Venus in Scorpio wants to really target. How is it that you feel in your environment? And does your environment speak to you anymore? Or is there more that you want? Because it's okay to want. Um, that's all Venus in Scorpio, right? And to let you know that it's okay to want what you want. That's kind of like that North Node in Aries, right? Reminding you that it's okay to, think about you. What do you want? You want a nap? You want a vacation, right? You want a break? What do you think you deserve? That's Venus in Scorpio, scraping the bottom of the barrel and really, bringing self worth, for example, right? And so the moon in Aries is there to assist with that always, not just this week, but it transitions into Taurus. And then we end Sunday with the moon in Gemini, which is great for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day because Gemini is all about family. Gemini is friends. Gemini is get togethers. Gemini is little hors d'oeuvres and finger foods. Gemini is definitely a family gathering, right? Gemini is all of those things. And so we have the moon in Gemini Sunday and Moon Day, which is Christmas Day. And I will be here whether you are here or not. I will be here on Christmas Day because I'm so excited to close out the year with episode 51. And so that's the week. That's the week for you all. If you are following the journey, we follow the Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace 2023 manifestation agenda slash journal. Don't buy this one if you're going to Amazon. Scroll down to the third option and buy 2024 manifestation agenda slash journal. I'm so excited. We start the week with the waxing crescent, like I said, in Pisces, and wisdom and understanding are attainable. That's what the moon kind of implies today, leading into that first quarter tomorrow. Wisdom and understanding are attainable. Are those two things that you've been kind of hoping, right? Wisdom is what guarantees that you put those two dots together and that you have the aha moment. And sometimes we need someone else's wisdom to assist us in getting to the aha moment that then gets the wheel going for ourselves. So don't be afraid to reach out to people that you trust and that you love and that you can be certain that they are a safe space for you to communicate, right? In the book, we journal every moon day, and we also have a few items of housekeeping. Like this week, I will make sure to prepare and send my subscriber handout. That's what I'm doing this week. I'm not going to leave it for Christmas and then in between New Year's. I feel like that's too stressful. I'm going to be hosting family. And so we're going to do it this week. And this month, um, man- manifestation, no. This month's handout, I was going to say manual, and then manifestation came up, but I meant handout. My subscribers receive a handout, an audio meditation, and the PDF month to month version of this book. And so last month's packet was about grief and it was beautifully received. And I was so grateful to share it with even a few friends over on TikTok. So thank you for that. Um, And this month is going to be about shadow work. Um, it's going to also include how you can do shadow work with my journal, even though it doesn't say anything about shadow work in the cover, which I guess in retrospect I should have added, but I didn't. So we're going to discuss all of those. And yeah, and I'm grateful for episode 50 and grateful for you all and so grateful for my guest, Mr. Peter Soby. If you're willing and able, you can join at any moment. I think you have the correct, um, what's the word? The correct link. But if not, we are sending you one right now. So, Peter I met Peter on a different app where we used to host this conversation back in the day. And he was the host in his own show. And so I met him by showing up on his show to watch what it was about. And so this is how we've stayed connected ever since. And let's talk about Peter.
Hi,
Hello, I'm so glad that you're here. So glad that you made it, that you taught me how to do it, and very grateful that you have followed this journey all year long.
I'm grateful to be here. And remember, we worked it out together yesterday.
That's right, practice. So, I don't know if you heard um, my very brief introduction about you or the explanation of how we connected. Should I just start over? I do have some
Yeah,
very specific questions for you. Okay, good.
please.
So, y'all, I don't know any personal details about Peter, like, where he grew up, but I was fascinated by his hosting skills in his show, um, All Walks of Life. Very great concept, Peter, right? Peter wants to, or was, or whatnot, interviewing um, some of the epic artists in his circle. And I say circle because I feel like everybody I watched was a personal friend of Peter's, but they're like actors and entrepreneurs and just amazing people. And Peter has an AI bot that assists him, and you had a co-host, and I forget the name of your bot, but that was so fun. And what interested me most about you is that you're an author and a children's book illustrator. So I definitely want to dive into that. But tell us a little bit about you growing up, Peter, please.
Tell us a little bit about what?
About you growing up, please.
Oh, wow, growing up. Well, I grew up in like a mid-sized town of about 25,000 people outside of Chicago. And both of my parents were blue collar through and through factory workers. And they met in a factory and worked in factories their whole life.
Mm,
And I was fortunate enough to, when I went to high school, there was a high school like 12 miles away in a really rich neighborhood. And somehow my little corner of my town was in that school district. So I got bused to this very nice high school and got a great education and had wonderful teachers that I still communicate with to this day, that were very inspiring to me. And, like I feel like have a lot to do with the person I became eventually. And yeah, and I was like a very active person. I was actually a very shy wallflower my first 3 years of high school.
mm,
Like I didn't have a lot of friends because I was from like the wrong side of the tracks, and like a lot of the people in the rich high school, it was just like John Hughes movies. Like there was like all the rich kids and all the kids from the poor side of town.
mm.
I kind of reinvented myself my senior year, and I actually ran for the student council at the end of my junior year, and I pretended to be someone else. Like I pretended to be a whole different person, and some of the kids either thought I was being crazy, and some kids probably thought I was a new kid or something. It was really funny. and I won my vice presidency in a landslide. Came back senior year like a whole new kid, like really popular in school, and was head editor of the yearbook, and I was on like the homecoming court, and just did all kinds of stuff. And then I started DJing all school dances, and started my own businesses, like a DJ business and a service business, and had a radio show. Went to college, was had a radio show, and had my business going. And then between my freshman and sophomore year in community college is when I dove into a lake that was too shallow and broke my spinal cord at the fifth and sixth vertebrae. And then, had a year off from college because I was in the rehab and hospital for about 9 months. And then I went back and finished my sophomore year of college, transferred to University of Illinois to do my junior and senior year in college. And then the summer I graduated, I drove my van to Los Angeles, and I've been here ever since.
Ooh, that was amazing. I love that. So I knew about the lake at 19, but I don't remember you leading up to that. So thank you for that. Reinventing yourself in high school. That's very interesting. I feel like I can relate a little bit, if I may, because I went to the same school from first to eighth grade, and most of the kids with that whole 8 years, right, were also in my pre-K class. So it's like I knew them for about 10 years, and then I decided to change and go to a different school. So I was a brand new person, right? Brand new girl, and like you said, um, reinventing the concept of reinventing yourself can be as, I don't know, as necessary as it's fulfilling. And there's nothing wrong with it. We call it rebranding now, right? Don't we call it that now?
Yeah.
Right? We call it rebranding, or we call it transcending, or whatever. So that's really fun, and DJing and having a business from that. I I'm just not surprised that that's what your experience would have been from the conversations that we've had, right? And so I did have a specific question about your journey, which is, were you always artistic, or is art and painting something that you transitioned into it after the lake?
That's a good question, Graciela. I would say I've always been very, very creative and artistic. I did take one art class in high school, but keep in mind I was on the yearbook, so I was into like design and layout and all that sort of stuff. And like my senior yearbook was very much like my little baby with my sense of humor and everything. But when I found out about the mouth and painting, there's Muffin. Hi,
Hi,
Muffin.
Muffin.
When I found out about the mouth and painting from a friend of mine, a fellow quadriplegic in Chicago, and she said, like, have you ever painted before? And I was like, I haven't really painted, but I've drawn and stuff like that. And as a director, I would do my storyboards, like drawing, holding a pencil in my teeth to draw my storyboards. And
Mhm,
even though they were kind of rudimentary, like the director of photographies would always say, like, there's a real style to your artwork. It's like it's kind of rudimentary, but it's cool. And so I was actually having a Skype conversation with my friend Miriam in Chicago, who belongs to the MFPA, the Mouth and Feet Painting Artists. And she's like, you should just apply for them. They only accept applications once a year. They only accept a small handful of people every year from around the world. And I was like, yeah, I should. Like, so you had to fill out a long application and turn in 6 paintings. And, like, even though I never painted, like, just being an artistic person, like, it just came naturally. And, like, you paint, like, for me, I paint holding the paintbrush in my teeth,
mhm,
kind of. So even though I can move my arm, I can't use my fingers to grab the paintbrush.
mhm,
And so, anyway, actually, the magical thing, since the show includes magic, when Miriam was like, I should try out for it, I was like, "Oh, I don't know, I'll think about it." Couple hours after I got off Skype with Miriam, oh, I'm telling this story, so one of those like, "Oh, but there was this, but there was this." She was like, "MFPA loves it to know that if you were endeavoring to be an artist before you were injured." And I'm like, "Well, I was artistic and I had an art class, and I'm sure like my
Right.
art."
I liked colors, but
Yeah, but I'm like, I'm
but I
still
didn't paint with my mouth before.
I'm still friends with my art teacher from high school, and I bet you like he would write a letter for me, like that Peter was
Mm,
very creative and artistic in high school. And I'm like, yeah, like so when we got off, I was like, I'll think about this. Like it sounds pretty cool, obviously, but it's a lot of work. And then like 2 hours after we got off of our FaceTime call, there's a knock on the door and it's UPS, and they hand me a poster tube. And I have, I look at it and I have no idea what it is. Like I don't remember ordering anything. I open it up and it's a piece of my artwork from high school from that teacher with a note saying, "I'm retiring this year, and I've had this art of yours hanging in my office all these years, and I wanted to return it to you instead of, throwing it away or something."
oh,
He mailed it like a week before, having no idea like what was going on in my life, and it came at that exact moment. I'm like, okay, if this isn't the universe telling me like,
right.
"Hey, fella, pursue art, dude." And so like
Right. It's
I did.
that moment of, if I may, it's that moment of clarity where there's an opportunity that's being presented, but you're thinking about, do I dive in or do I not? What are my fears and apprehensions about it? Or you may not be thinking about it at all. You just feel that resistance. But then there's a moment of confirmation that gives you that aha moment of like, this must be real. Like it's falling on my lap for a reason, right?
Yeah. And also, like, I think has a lot to say too about opportunity and your soul's desire, perhaps. And, it's like, it's kind of like, it's an interesting contemplation. Like, I believe it kind of was like a deep soul desire of mine that I wasn't identifying. So the universe kind of nudged it along for me. And so maybe, like, if someone else might have been given that opportunity and didn't get some sort of big sign like that, maybe they would have passed it up. Maybe I would have passed it up. But I'd like to
Right.
think that, it was kind of like in my destiny. So I fortunately got a nudge from the universe that I listened to, and I hopped to it and did my 6 paintings and wrote my essays, and lo and behold, like I was like one of 4 people that got in worldwide that year.
Hmm.
They immediately kind of like enjoyed my I did a painting of my cat Muffin, who you saw jump up here on my lap, and they really liked the cat character, and their big business is Christmas, and they asked me if I would create a children's Christmas book with the cat character. So I did, and wrote and illustrated Muffin's Fun and Curious Christmas, which now it's been about 4 Christmases, and they've done 3 runs of it. So it's
Hmm.
always a very popular title around Christmas for them. And they
Oh,
recently commissioned me to write my second Muffin children's book.
yes. And that's the one about Muffin going on a world adventure.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Muffin's
it's so
little
beautiful.
friend Mac the Mouse. Muffin and Mac travel the world to all the famous sites of the world. So we'll see Muffin in London and Paris and Taj Mahal and China Wall and Mount Everest and the Swiss Alps and all sorts of places.
That's so fun. Oh my gosh. That whole book was so fun. And I'm so grateful that I got the inside scoop when I did. And the reason why I got the inside scoop, so thank you for that, Peter, is because we have been following the journey of Peter creating this book since last year when he showed up at my show for the very first time and was brave and vulnerable about how he had a deadline and he needed to get himself organized, and how he was going to try the concept of using Monday to then plan out the rest of the week. So I'm so proud of you. I felt so proud and obviously emotionally invested when you sent me the book as just a friend, right? Like we do with beta readers and the
Right now, I can't hear you, and you froze, but I'm still here.
Okay. Can
Now,
you hear me?
now I hear you. Yeah.
Oh, my sister was calling and I apologize. Um,
Oh,
but
yeah.
anyway,
No, that's the only downside of the phone, I guess, is getting a phone call.
that's right. Even though it's in all of the settings, right, so that I don't get notified. But still, um, what was I saying? Where was I?
You're saying,
Yeah,
well,
the book
it's Monday night.
and the journey, right? And the concept of accountability. So what I've discovered in my own journey of self-discovery and in diving into figuring out what's happening with our son, right? With which Peter, as one of the viewers that comes weekly, you're very well aware of. Plus, Peter and I just text pretty much every day, right? And so it's what I've discovered is that I like to do things with what neurodivergents call a buddy double, and that is I will be so motivated if you're in the room with me while there's laundry happening, folding of the laundry, cleaning, right? You don't even have to do it with me. And my dad used to be like that. My dad would want my mother to sit while he was doing anything. Just visit, just give me company. That's what they would call it, right? But actually, it may be related to ADHD or neurodivergence and how some people don't like to be perceived and some people thrive while they're being perceived. And I'm bringing this up as a Mercury retrograde kind of ramble, obviously. Oversharing tends to happen when Mercury is retrograde because of the sense of accountability that comes from showing up every week to talk about what we have going on. Even without intending it, there's a level of accountability in the housekeeping, right? Because I like to keep track of all the things you do. So, yay, Peter! So proud and happy for your book.
Thank you.
So, what about next year? What's next after this book?
Well, I have given myself a great challenge. And
Ooh.
I really want to go outside of my comfort zone and follow something that my soul is yearning for, but my physical body is like trying to push away.
Mhm.
So last year I had the opportunity. I've got a good friend who's a popular vegan chef on YouTube, and she was taking this online stand up comedy course.
Mhm.
She signed me up for it. And of
Mhm.
course, it was a 6 week thing that led to like a little 5 minute set, and you were in the audience graciously.
That's right. I remember that.
And so that experience I really enjoyed, but I still kind of wasn't like, I want to become a stand up comic. For me, it was more about embracing my sense of humor and putting that out to the world. But people a long time have said I should write a book about my life or a screenplay. And, my mind is like, oh, who wants to hear your story? Like, you know how that voice just
Mhm.
like knocks it down? And it's been
And it doubles down during Mercury retrograde, that imposter syndrome that says, "Who are you?"
exactly, yeah. So after that class, I then took this other online class from a friend of mine who does coaches like 1 hour shows. Like, so if you want to do a 1 hour stand up comedy show, she'll like teach you how to do it.
Mm.
Really great experience again, except I realized I don't really want to do a stand-up comedy 1 hour show, but I want to turn it into a hybrid comedy one person show and kind of share the story and inspiration of my life a bit. And so that was like, I put that onto the stove, but then it went to the back burner. And then I put the pan in the cupboard. Then I closed the cupboard. And then I put other stuff in the cupboard in front of that pan. However, just a couple of weeks ago, I finally opened the cupboard, took some stuff out, found that pan. It's like, let's grease this thing up and get it back on the stove. And so I signed up for some one on one sessions with the 1 hour coach. And I'm working toward, I still have to set the final date, but it's probably going to be in June or July. I'm going to write a 1 hour show and I'm going to put it up live on a stage and film it,
Mm.
put it on YouTube, and finally fulfill that journey of my soul to put a little bit more of my life out there with the hopes of even inspiring one person in the world, but hopefully it'll inspire many.
Mm. Shall we pencil this down on July of next
Ooh,
year?
are there
Woo!
days that look really strong?
Important dates on the 22nd. Leo season starts.
Wow. What
That's
days?
your crowning achievement, stepping into the light and pursuing a real fire in your soul. That is so Leo coded.
Wow, I love it. What day is July 22nd?
It is a moon day.
That's crazy because you know what? I even thought like I need to do this like on a Monday or Tuesday so I could rent a theater on an off night.
Hmm. You mean to practice?
No, to like put it up actually.
Oh.
My ideal is like I want to put it up and fill the audience and film it.
Mhm. Yeah, we'll talk about it. We have time, but at the same time, it'll be here before you know it. And look at us. Look at us already putting something on the calendar for next year. I'm so happy and proud of you. And actually, the full moon happening in Capricorn is going to be the day before. Would you like to know what Theodore Roosevelt would like to tell you in the month of July next year?
Yes, let's hear it.
He says, believe you can, and you are halfway there.
Wow.
So believing you can write it, hold it, and fill it, record it, and post it is half the battle. Don't you just love this Kool Aid?
Good, love it. And you were kind of like there at the very start of my journey from my book, and that came to fruition and completion. Hasn't been published yet, but it will be. So now you're here at the germ of the one person show.
Hmm.
And it's like really, I mean, I'm a social person and everything, but the older I get, I do get more subconscious about myself and my body. And the thought of kind of being on stage vulnerable like that,
Hmm.
not delightful, but I know that much comes from going outside your comfort zone.
Right, right. And that's a great reminder too, because so we're still in Sagittarius season right now until the solstice, and the solstice kind of ushers us into Capricorn season, right? But Mercury is retrograding from Capricorn back into Sagittarius. And so it is kind of that. And I wonder if you're experiencing this or if you were experiencing it when you were describing putting things in the cupboard, right? And closing it and shutting it away until you just felt mentally prepared to address it, right? To bring your awareness back to it. And so Sagittarius is that, ooh, that goal seems so much fun. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Like I was saying earlier. But Mercury going back into Sagittarius kind of implies that circling the drain just to make sure that this is what resonates, that you're doing it for the same reason, for the right reasons, that you are really committed. Because when I say really committed, there's a level of self sabotage, and I'm not talking about you now, Peter. So let me generalize. There's a level of self sabotage when we really get excited and emotionally invested in a project, but then we don't do the steps to get to it. And then you have to deal with the utter disappointment of failing, as in not doing it, which is kind of right, a failure. And I've experienced it. It doesn't feel good at all. And so that's part of where the accountability comes in, where this journey kind of, what I love about this conversation, even if it's just with myself, figuring out the steps to bring things about and to create, things. Because I, tell me if you agree, but I want to be an active participant in the things that come about in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you wouldn't want all your success to be because, like, oh, my friend got on TV and gave me a TV show. It's like, oh, like, I didn't earn it, and how much are you really going to succeed from that?
Yeah, and not just that, but I don't want things to happen to me. I want to make sure that I am making things happen for myself, period. And it's taken a long shift, right? To go from things are happening to me to I'm making things happen and things are happening for me, right? That's a coaching shift that I've experienced in the last 2 years. And that's the shift that I strive for clients and the sort, because there is so much power on this narrative, on this kind of lane of train of thought, when you're really focused on what you want for yourself and what's best for your people, and then going from that. So I'm just very grateful and excited for what the new year has to come for you, Peter. Thank you so much.
Yes, me as well. Thank you. Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think of when you speak of that is like, think about being a professional tennis player. If you spend your life just trying to like dodge balls hit at you and survive getting the ball over the net, and you're not attacking the net, you're not
Hmm.
going to become a pro tennis player. You're just going to spend your life reacting to shots.
Right,
Before
right. And
because you just spent your whole life reacting to what came at you and not creating.
mhm, exactly. And that's the goal, right? To get from that to creating and to be an active creator, right? In our life, always aware of how far our own control can go and the things that are out of our control. So yeah, we're all just learning and creating together. So thank you so much, Peter. As a closing, where can people connect with you and possibly see your wonderful art? Let us know.
The best, you can do all the above at my website, which is very simply www.petersoby.com. Petersoby.
Yay! Thank you so much, Peter. I'm so grateful for you and I love you. And yeah, I cannot wait to host you again next year to talk about the success of your one man show.
Totally, me too. Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's a
Of
great
course.
for me to kick off my birthday week.
That's right. That's right.
So
Happy birthday to
that's
you.
that's what winter solstice brings is my birth into this world.
That's right. You come with the sun. How beautiful is that?
And I love your T-shirt.
Thank you. Yes, that's kind of why I wore it. And also, I'm trying to appeal to the graces Venus in Scorpio with the color green, right? Venus governs the heart chakra, and the heart chakra is green. So when it comes to putting these things together, green would be the color, right, to appeal to Venus in some way. So that's that's what I'm working on.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for having me on your
Oh,
show.
thank you. Thank you so much, Peter. Now that we figured it out, this will become a thing now. We're going to go back to hosting guests and having great conversations. So thank
Yeah,
you, Peter.
it's really easy. Who
That's
needs
right.
X app?
That's right. All right. So, shall we get ready for our meditation?
Yes. Should I leave the screen or do you want me here for it?
No, no, no. You can relax. I will go ahead and bid adieu. Thank you so much, Peter. And we'll be in touch.
I'm not sure if I know how to leave, but
I'll do it. Thank you.
thank
Say
you.
goodbye. Bye. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Peter. That was amazing. And to really get to know more of your journey is just such an honor. So thank you for that. And thank you for being an inspiration and such a great friend. So everybody, let's get ready for a meditation. We'll do a short one because it's almost 10 and I like to respect your time and honor mine. So music for this meditation is brought to you by Brain FM. You can find a free trial and um, in the link in my bio. So relax. I'm going to take this off because it's really tight. Focus on your normal breathing, nice and slow. And follow my lead as I walk you through this breath work and affirmations for the week. With me, take a deep breath in through your nose. Deep breath in through your nose. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale through your mouth. Long extended breath all the way. Hold it at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe in again through your nose. All the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. Exhale through your mouth. Long extended breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax. And as you relax in this moment and bring your attention to your heart and focus your energy into this space, ponder these affirmations as you slowly breathe in and out. My life is ruled by hope and compassion. I am guided and protected. I attain wisdom and understanding with every passing day. I am so grateful, so loved, and so ready for a successful week filled with moments of gladness and love. With me, take a deep breath in through your nose, nice and slow. Fill your lungs all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, nice and slow through your mouth. Long, extended breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, four, and breathe in again through your nose. Last breath, deep, deep, deep breath in. Hold it at the top. One, two, three, four, and exhale nice and slow through your mouth. Long, extended breath out. Hold it again. One, two, three, four, and relax. And as you relax, bring your awareness to your body. Open your eyes and come back to me. I am so grateful for this amazing year that we have shared together and so excited to spend Christmas Day having this conversation again. So I will see you all next week. I hope this week is filled with love and gladness and moments of understanding. And remember patience and love and kindness and just relax and ease into the things that are presented because they're presented usually for a reason or a lesson. So you have to discern. I love you all, and I will see you next week. Bye bye. Thank you, Peter.